my first day as a Viking leader, and I thought I was killing it. I started off with the barracks and the fishing hunt, mainly because you need those two things to get the war engine moving in the game. But boy was I wrong. After a bit of going back and forth with the enemy, I soon realized I need a bit of strategy here to reach the boss at the end of the level. In Sons of Valhalla, players are drawn into a base building strategy game that reminds me of those addicting flash games of the mid-2000s to 2010s. The game sets like a clear goal here. Start on one side of the screen and battle your way across the other, plundering whatever resources you can find and burning everything else to the ground. These resources are important for spawning and upgrading a variety of troops, each with their own strengths, who will fight for you as you progress into the level. As you capture the enemy bases, you start a tug of war between defense and offense, managing the resources needed to sustain your assault while defending your own bases against enemy counterattacks. This push and pull dynamic adds depth to the gameplay, inviting players to constantly adapt their strategies to outmaneuver their opponents and secure victory. Sons of Valhalla hits it on the nail with the blend of strategic base building and action. You can feel the tug of war with troops you threat the enemy, but you get to be the wild card here. As Storvold, you get to be this powerful Viking warrior that won't let anything get in the way. You have a couple mechanics in your tool belt like light and heavy attacks. Me preferably, I really like the heavy attacks. Charging up that double attack just makes everything a lot easier. There's also things like blocking or just rolling out of the way. Upgrading your character is just as important as making your army stronger in my opinion. You earn gold by defeating bosses, which lets you upgrade your health and stamina. So we usually would have like health potions or stamina regen potions or something along those lines in most other games. In this game, we get the use of meat and mead, and they replace those potions. Gives it more that authentic Viking feel we're looking for. Those upgrades come in handy later when the troops get harder and the bosses have these bigger health bars. I thought the rune system was pretty interesting. Gives you random upgrades as you play. So you get those by unlocking chests, which are found typically in enemy camps as you push through the game or the level, or by defeating enemies. You'll occasionally find a ruin. So if you find like a more high level advanced warrior, you kill them and then they drop like a higher tier loot, like an RNG kind of vibe. And then you can equip these to your belt, offering you or your army a random upgrade. They come in random rarities, and the power offered will depend on how rare each rune is. So my favorite was the Nocturnal buff, which gives you a 100% HP boost at night. Pair this with other runes like the Werewolf one, which boosts your damage and your health at night, and you get an easy OP build. What really ties everything together in my opinion are the boss battles. After you reach the end of the level, you get to face off against a boss in a big battle arena, and with its own theme and its own music. Each level is also themed around their respective boss for the level. For example, there's like a bishop, another one's like a Viking warrior, and then another rival you find in the beginning. The music in the background really sets the tone and the vibe of the danger you're gonna be encountering. So it's very different from your average level experience. It's a nice little break from the repetitive grind of each level. Jumping into Sons of Valhalla for me was a fresh adventure. And man, does this game shine in some areas while making you wish for a bit more in others. It's this cool mix where you're running around with your hero, sword in hand, leading a bunch of troops and taking over places left and right. And you're building up your pace as you go, which feels pretty rewarding, so you get to see some immediate rewards for your hard work, in my opinion. But let's take more of a deep down analysis of the pros and cons here. So the hero bit, leading the charge is very fun. You get to dive into fights, sword swinging, and use some neat tricks to get the upper hand. Your army, having a group of troops to back you up adds a nice layer to the action, makes you feel like you're not alone, and makes the overwhelming army of the enemy side not as intimidating. But it's all about picking the right moment when to push, when to hold, or when to fall back. Base building, on top of that, you get some minor base building here, and with that you get to upgrade your resources, the production of resources, the storage, the quality and level of your troops, stuff like that. So it gives everyone like a big boost, also including your character too, because you have to level up your main building to level up your health and stamina, and also your mead and your meat. So it makes you feel like you're actually getting stronger as you go. Let's talk pros first. The game is downright beautiful in my opinion, which is saying something for a pixel game. They've nailed the visuals, making every scene pop. The backdrops are really well done. The voice acting I think is really good too. The dialogue scenes are filled with emotion, pulling you right into the story. It's stuff like this that makes the game stand out. But just like any other game, it's got its cons. I think the biggest hiccup has to be how the enemies can sometimes feel like they're bullet sponges, how they soak up so much damage, making some fights feel like they have to drag on longer than they should be. The first level was a fun challenge, but by the second level, it felt like the game cranked up the difficulty too much in my opinion, a little too fast too. Enemies with massive health bars and healers in the back constantly patching them up means I was always having to do damage constantly, not giving me a chance to breathe. And without direct upgrades for damage, just attack speed, my strategy boiled down to using power attacks for the area effect more than the damage they dealt. Despite these challenges, starting off strong with the game's beautiful art and engaging voice-acted cutscenes really sets a fantastic stage. It's a game that has its ups and downs, but still manages to pull you in for a good time. Sons of Valhalla offers a compelling blend of strategy and hands-on action that's as challenging as it is rewarding. While it dazzles with stunning pixel art and immersive voice acting, it also tests your patience with formidable enemies that might leave you strategizing for hours. Yes, there are moments where the challenge feels overwhelming, but overcoming these battles is part of the game's charm. My favorite parts were mainly the boss battles. Man, those fights were something else. Each one felt like a mini event with its own vibe and challenge. It was like stepping into a whole new game, and honestly, these moments were a highlight. They pulled me back in every time, reminding me why I was so hyped about this game in the first place. Is it worth it? Absolutely. For just about $17.99 at the time of sale on Steam, you get a visual tree that takes you through a journey through Viking battles and lore. It's the kind of game that keeps you coming back, not just for the action, but for the rich storytelling and the thrill of mastering its strategic depth. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or new to strategy games, Sons of Valhalla promises a saga worth experiencing.